One. What's going on, family? I'm so excited. I have the privilege and honor to congratulate my brother, one of my best friends, Nick Baksh, Mr. 682-3 himself. This little limestone is just the 3A. He hit 3A. Congratulations, brother. Hats off to you, man. And you're in the hot seat, man. I hope you're ready. You ready to rock and roll with us? Now you know. I already know you about this life, bro. But congrats on hitting Nick on 3A, brother. Congrats. How do you feel, man? How do you feel about your accomplishment?
I appreciate you, man. I'm honestly, I love it, man. You know, each stepping stone is a milestone for me. So I'm very gracious, and I express a lot of gratitude for it. But this is only part of the journey.
Part of it, absolutely. Definitely, bro. Definitely. All right, bro. So I got some questions, man. And I'm asking for the team as well, because 3A is it's a huge stepping stone. I know the first 10, like I said earlier, and the word has it around in the Enagic world that the first 10 are harder than the first 100. After the 10, you're 4A, and after 4A, like next thing you know, you're 5A, 6A, and then six after six being 6A, all you gotta do is help your team get to 6A, and then from there, you're just getting paid by helping others get paid, right? But Nick, bro, you are someone who's prime example of a leader. You're a great example. You really set the bar for yourself and for others to follow. So congratulations, and I commend you for that. So I want to ask you the first question, right? I wrote it down. So what were some practices you had while building your way to 3A? So you were 0A. What were some practices you did? What were some things you adopted for yourself? While getting to while you were getting there 3A that
I
helped
would
you.
say, I would say, again, thank you, man. I appreciate you. And I would say, just right off the bat, the three things that help the most is just learning, growing, and applying. We could learn all this information and learn the techniques and learn the concepts and how to talk to people and how to connect and how to network and all that. But if we're not focusing on ourselves, if we're not building ourselves, and if we're not then applying all these things that we're learning, what good is it?
Right.
So it was for me a combination of implementing all three, learning as much as I can from people like such as yourself, from Nick T, from Mike, even from Manny. I'm learning from everybody. I'm learning from all of these guys, and I feel like we all individually have things to teach each other and learn from each other as well. So I like to take a little bit from each person, gain a little bit of perspective and take from that what I will implement to my own life and twist it or whatever way in my own version. And just learning and applying all that for me. Applying it was probably the biggest thing because that's something that I didn't really do too much in life. I always pride myself on learning and educating myself. I'm a firm believer in being a self-starter and holding yourself accountable to learn certain things because we're not going to be taught things that we need to be successful in this world in the way that the system is set up. So for me, I knew that I needed to learn my own way and, on my own rather than wait for someone to do it for me because that's not going to happen, right? And then from that, I just seriously is as simple as not enough as just applying it. All that stuff that we learn, just trying it, testing it out, experimenting with it. And then once you do it and once you start seeing it,
Give us an example, I guess, like what were some keys you took away from our training calls, from this platform that we have? What were some key takeaways that you carry within in your day-to-day life and you apply into the business?
I would say a big one is organization. That's something that I had a huge problem with before. So organizing yourself, getting structured, forming a plan. Before that, I was a very run-of-the-mill, just go with the flow type of person. And I still am to a degree, but when it comes to business and when it comes to what we have going on with this, being structured and forming a plan helps you accomplish your goals and achieve those milestones that you want. So that's what I did. I just being consistent with that, and I would literally write down things like at my day job right now. there's certain quotes and there's certain things that I'll put on my monitor that I see all the time because I'm staring at my screen, right? So whether it's a quote, whether it's an analogy, whether it's a weekly goal, a monthly goal, whatever the case is, I also have a small vision board by my desk as well.
Nice.
So that I constantly am programming my mind, and I'm, training, I'm wiring my brain to be successful, to see the things that I want to achieve and read it and then wire it in my brain. So I'm constantly thinking about it, consciously and subconsciously. So I write these sticky notes on the bottom of my monitor. So while I'm working, I'm on my business, at my job, I'm partly working on my fortune as well by doing that. That's 100%. A little secret.
100%, bro. I love it, man. And just with that, like you're training your subconscious mind to adopt it, to see it right before it happens, and that's where it all starts, right? So, man, if that's not motivation, bro, I don't know what that is. That's powerful. I have sticky notes everywhere in my room as well, like even downstairs. And some family members make fun of me, like they see it, like what the heck is this? But I don't care. It's for me to see, and if people see it, then like okay, hopefully it resonates with you, right? Because those things are powerful, man. So great, bro. Thank you for answering that. Next question, bro. I mean, okay, so it's business, right? If we treat it like a hobby, it's gonna pay us like a hobby. If we treat it like a business, it will pay us like a business, right? You're proof in putting that, that, and you can attest to that, right? If so, but we also understand that this is not gonna go always perfect, right? We have our ups, we have our downs. It's business at the end of the day, right? If we're treating it like a business, we have to accept that, hey, there's things we have to sacrifice and stuff like that. So Nick, bro, did you ever feel like business was slowing down? If so, what were some things that helped you overcome those obstacles?
Yeah, absolutely, I did. I think it's inevitable anytime that you're in any business, whether it be network marketing or brick and mortar. I mean, in life, it could be that could be something that could be attributed to life in general. You're going to go through your ups and your downs, your slow moments and your high times and whatnot. But I definitely experienced that. And the way for me that I got over it was just remaining laser focused. I have a burning desire in me to achieve what I want to achieve. And my why is big enough that any personal issues that I'm going through or any like little insignificant short-term detracting points that happen in my life, I make sure that it's only a bump in the road and it doesn't really affect my long-term thinking, my long-term plan, and my why. That's how great, that's how powerful my why is. It literally is the reason why I wake up and breathe. So nothing is going to stop me from achieving that and achieving what I set out to do. I have a burning desire, and nothing is going to stop me from that. So that and remaining consistent was what helped me through those times, the biggest keys. And they're going to happen. If they haven't happened to anyone yet, they're going to. I mean, it's inevitable.
Right.
So preparing ourselves for it and understanding it's going to happen and prepping, for it to handle them accordingly is equally as important, I think.
Absolutely, 100%. And it all comes with just going through it. You have to go through it. Success is not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be so easy, but it is going to be worth it, right? And locking in with the wave makers, like this platform right here, growing, training our brains, exchanging these ideas, and doing the things that we learn here, right? Not just learning all this information and not applying it, but actually applying it. Once we see the results, share our results, right? And you've applied it. Now, you're sharing your story, man. And so let me ask you this, bro. If there was a secret to success in doing this, right? Secret to success, right? That sauce, what would that be for you?
I like how you put in quotations, the secret, because it's not really a secret, right? It's everything that we already know. Like I was kind of highlighting just now previously, consistency. That's what it boils down to for me. Like when you go through the bumps and the bruises, when you go through those times where, you might not be as motivated, or, you get discouraged from what somebody may have said, a prospect, or just something in general in life, significant other, coworker, whatever the case is, being consistent with yourself, with your mindset, and then that transfers over to your business. So being consistent with all that is a secret, quote unquote secret, for me anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There isn't a success story out there, a person out there that has made it to the top that can tell you that it wasn't, that they lack consistency in getting there. Can you guys hear me clear? Nick, can you hear me? Because I know sometimes my mic.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Oh, perfect.
All right, brother. So look, what advice would you give the newest member to the family? They just got the machine. We're cutting the tape with a brand new global business. What is some keys or some advice that you would like to share, for them?
That is an excellent question, because it's so relevant. I would say, honestly, two things. One, stick close to the fire. The further you stray away from this community of like-minded individuals that are on the same path, on the same mission to achieve what we want to achieve, the further you stray away from that, the further you're going to get away from your goals and what you want to achieve with this. The closer you stay, tightly knit, always, dialing in, always on the calls, consistently on the calls, consistently offering feedback, asking questions. I'm pretty sure, like, you're pretty, most likely going to be successful in what you do as long as you stay consistent with that. So sticking close to the bonfire, being around people, in that environment, keeping people that you need and are going to help you grow as a person in your environment is massively pivotal to your success and what you want to do. One of the biggest things that has ever stood out to me was when I heard, I forget who it's, I'm sure one of you guys know, but they said, show me your 5 closest friends or the 5 people that are closest to you, and I'll show you a reflection of who you are. And when I heard that, I wasn't in the greatest of places. Like, I was in a pretty toxic environment, pretty bad environment around some pretty toxic people. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, wow. And that's when things started to click for me. So yeah, but that, and yeah, I kind of just like went off on a tangent there. But what was the question again?
I got you, bro. That's all good. I get like that sometimes too, man. What advice would you give the newest person joining in, or the person that's been here for months, maybe years, but that plan to relaunch their business and get things up and running again, or like really just go out there and start making things happen?
So so I had a 2-part answer to that. That was my first part. The second part was watching the videos. We have a gold mine with wave makers, with like what Nick and Mike are doing. Like, they are literally setting us up for success. You don't even have to do much, like, all we have to do is implement the system that they created and the duplication of it, and just implement that, and you're on the right path, So watching the videos from week 1, from day 1, month 1, getting that right mindset, understanding, the things that you need to understand mentally and emotionally to prep yourself to be ready to take on like a business and have that mindset for it. That's key to me, because I didn't really know anything about business too much, especially network marketing, before I got into this. I knew nothing about it really. I didn't even have that much sales experience, to be honest. So I pretty much am jumping in, being fed to the lions, if you will. Not really, but so what helped me massively was watching all these videos, watching all the training videos, learning every little bit I could from Nick, Mike, and you and everyone else, and learning, soaking that up like a sponge. So all of that stuff is on wavemakers.life. We have it readily available and accessible whenever we want. So we might as well take advantage of it.
Might as well. It's free too.
It's free.
Like,
there are groups out there and there are people out there that actually charge for what we do here and with Wavemakers for free out of love. They're like, my friend actually just told me about this. Like, she got scammed, not scammed, but these people are like offering their services with like training, or $100 a month or whatever the case is, for the same thing that we're doing here. Like, it's crazy,
It's unbelievable, man. So guys, we're blessed. We're blessed to be amongst people that want to see you succeed. Like you said perfectly, Nick. And each individually, bro. Like we all have our individual goals that we want to hit, right? We all have our own end goals, right? Um, but here we get to meet our individual goals if we just work collectively and hit our own, collective goals. Because if you help enough people get what they want, then you'll get everything that you've ever even imagined. And it's not going to be easy. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's worth helping that lady that's suffering from heart disease or whatever ailment that she's suffering. That person that wants to lose weight. That person that is poisoning themselves with whatever. It's worth extending our hands, extending our hearts to help them, see something more of, of what they've been taught when it comes to, proper hydration, when it comes to even health to begin with, right? I know when I went vegan, I was doing, a great thing for my health, aside of, not contributing to the animal, meat and dairy industry. But once I found the, kangen water and the importance of it, then this coincided with what I believed in already. So it was just coming out naturally. Things just started happening naturally, So Nick Baksh, bro, now I don't have any more questions on paper, but I'm just gonna kind of improvise. So you are someone who have a following on social media, you have a following on Facebook. What are some ways that that helped you? I guess with your consistency. With that, building online, like now you have a global business. We're out in Canada and Australia, I believe. But we're making moves, right? So kind of share your tactics on building online. Building on. I know you're big on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, with that, I would say to kind of tie it into is finding your niche, finding what you're good at. For me, it just so happened to be like yourself, I'm really big into veganism and I'm pretty well known in the vegan community and even more so with activism. So from that, you might as well just play it smart, right? I played to my strengths, being that I am well known in that. And, I have a rapport and I have credibility amongst this community. I developed relationships from that. I put out content that really resonates with a lot of people, and I make myself, I just make myself available and relevant. A lot of specifically on social media, the stories, like how we talked about that one day, stories are huge. I just took some pictures of my food right now that I'm going to put on my story after this call. And typically, depending on what it is, I'll get anywhere from 7 to 15 people messaging me from my stories every night. That's just from posting a picture or a little snippet of a video, on my story. So you can social media is big, man. You can reach hundreds, if not thousands of people at the click of a button. So you're doing yourself a massive injustice if you're not utilizing that. Yo, you're muted, bro. You're muted, Martin.
That was my bad. So Gustavo asked, I need recommendation from someone that has built up their own website structure and building it. Personally, me, I haven't. I don't have a website. I don't have a personal website. But I do have Instagram and I have Facebook, and we have the Yenegic.com. And we have our back office that is just strictly for us. But from our back offices, we have a lot of information there that helps us, educate us on kangen water. There's even, team training calls and stuff like that, in case somebody out in middle of nowhere has no team. They don't have any excuse to not build this thing because they have help in the back office. But there are people in the team that has their website. If anybody would like to unmute their mics and share on how
Would this be like the EWS that they
Personally, I haven't
experienced that or anything?
Gus, personally, I haven't done the Enetic web systems.
Yeah.
I know people because I don't think I would officially get my message across or like it's not kind of my style of marketing. But I know people that are using it and they're seeing results with it. I don't know if anybody here uses those the systems, the Enetic website systems.
Sure. I'm just kind of filling it around, but I think that'd be a really nice tool for me. I don't know, but just
Gus, yeah, absolutely. You know what? I recommend Gus if you feel like it will work a lot in your favor, you just go for it. Go do it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Just kind of filling it out, see if I can get any additional structures or experiences from anyone else on that issue.
For sure.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Martin, it's a little there's like an echo behind you, like when you speak.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. Yeah. Hello. That's me.
Madre.
All right, let me see. Yeah, my mic is doing that. I don't know why.
It's good now.
Give me the echo.
You're good now.
Oh, that was coming from Gus's mic then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So Nick, man. So, what are some things that you feel like what would add value to the call, even more add value to the call? On some things that you feel like you should share that I didn't ask you yet.
I would say just utilizing all different methods that you can, like how we say, like we gotta say a little bit to a lot of people, right? So the best way to, don't just be one dimensional where you're only doing social media or you're only talking to your friends and family, warm market and hot market, or you're only talking to people that you go and at work and meet and your daily life. Like utilize all of that. Why not? Big thing.
My bad, brother. Give us kind of like an example, man, on how you would, I guess, practically start up a connection after either accepting the friend request or them accepting your friend request. But you want to build with that person. Their website seems very attractive. They seem like they know where they're going. You want to attract them to your business. What are some ways that you facilitate that?
If it's cold market, like out of the blue on social media, we have to establish a friendship first. Like what how Nick always talks about. Without that trust and without that friendship there, you don't have anything. You're not gonna talk about business, and they're not gonna take you seriously. They're not gonna trust you. They're not gonna buy into you until you form that bond and you form that connection and you're authentic with it. Like I genuinely actually care. I when I talk to people, like I want to know more about them. I want to find out what's going on. I want to relate. Like typically it'll be people that friend request me on whatever they're vegan. So we have that in common. So we'll just ask common ground questions. Like when did you go vegan? What incited you to do so? Stuff like that. It can be very simple, and it doesn't have to be obviously that. But like let's say from the gym, like, hey, what are your goals for hitting the gym? What do you do? Are you into cross training? You into CrossFit? Strength training? Are you whatever the case is? Just honestly asking questions, being interested and not interesting is huge.
Okay,
it's so important.
So just building the foundation of it all, just that friendship, that relationship, and then after that, kangen will kind of naturally play itself out because who wouldn't want to drink kangen, right? So Nick, So for the person that is educating themselves with kangen water, I know I was like this, a lot. Like I was like this before. I was educating myself so much, but on like as far as like going out there and sharing with people, I was sharing too much because I felt like I was so educated, right? So I felt like spewing all this information out people, but for some reason, right, they were kind of getting scared away. They kind of weren't giving me the report that I wanted, to successfully do this. Did that ever happen to you before? If so, what did you learn, or what did you learn, to avoid that, from ever happening?
What's a great methodology that I use for that? If that's happening to you, you're not talking to enough people. Because I did the same exact thing. I would devote like a large portion of my time into talking my head off to one person, giving them way too much information. Their interest is no longer piqued at that point as well. You just overflood them with too much information, too much knowledge, like verbal vomit on them, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I did that as well. And it's really indicative, if you do that, of not really talking to too many people. You know, you want to say a little bit to a lot of people. So now I get it out there as much as possible. Like, I'm talking to so many different people, I literally don't have the time to verbally vomit on myself or on a conversation anymore. I just don't. And because of that, it helps me even more. Like, one, they're not being crammed with information and they're not being scared away because of it. Two, I'm utilizing my time a little bit more well. You know, the time management is key. So I'm making myself relevant, making kangen relevant, branding myself by speaking to so many more people all at the same time. Or not even at the same time, but, you know.
Okay, so from there, right, Nick, when it comes to kangen water, how do you approach those people when it comes to kangen water? I mean, I guess obviously we all have different lifestyles, or the same, but like with I know some people will relate more towards like money, or some people will relate more. It's like, okay, kangen water, health is wealth and stuff like that. Like, how, I guess after already catering to that need for that person, how do you, I guess, like, from them not knowing anything to like, how do you expose them to kangen water?
Yeah, so like it'll typically, for me, it'll happen one of two ways. The first way I'll explain is by using the form method that I learned from you. You know, asking people where they're from and whatnot, and just asking them questions, generating that rapport, building a rapport with them. By you asking all those questions and being so interested, eventually they're going to run out of breath talking about themselves, you know, unless you're talking to a real narcissist. But they're going to start asking you questions. They're going to be like, "Oh man, I've been talking about myself the whole time. What about you?" You know, you ask them where they're from, what they do, and all that. They're going to be like, "Oh, well, what about you? Where are you from? Like, what do you do, by the way?" That, boom, that's how you make kangen relevant right there. Like, you know, I work full time right now, but I'm also a part-time entrepreneur. I'm a educator for a Japanese technology that is literally revolutionizing health here in America, and I just keep it at that. You know, I
Nice.
keep it really simple, and they're like, "Oh, wait, what is that? Can you tell me more?" And I'm like, I really got to go right now, but you know, let's connect a little bit more tomorrow. You know,
Beautiful.
keep their interest peaked and whatnot. That was the first way. The other way is
That was a key, by the way, guys. We need a pause. That was a key right there. All right, go on, brother.
yeah, man. The other way is honestly just being forward. Depending on the person who it is, I will ask some questions and I will just be like, look, I mean, I know that, you know, you're big, you know, obviously we have veganism in common and whatnot and all that. That's great. I know that you value your health and everything. And like, I'll kind of use, I don't want to really say the word conspiracy theory, but like, I'll use that tip to where like we've been lied to about a lot, right? So, a lot like your vibe attracts your tribe, right? I've attracted a lot of people that are privy to this stuff, so they know it, and I leverage that in. So I'll be like, look, we all know that we're being lied to from these huge, greedy, multi-billion-dollar industries, the governments that are getting subsidies, giving out subsidies for these industries and whatnot. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of lies behind everything going on, right? So we all know the importance of diet, but I mean, doesn't it make sense that it's only 25% of the equation, being that our body is made up of mainly water, at least 75% water?
Mm.
And then I stop right then as well. I'll be like, doesn't that make sense? And 100% of the time, I never had anybody that was like, no, whatever. They're like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm like, being that our body is made up of more than 75% water, mainly water, does it make any sense that we're drinking the worst types of quality water that there is? You know, why is diet predicated and you know, advocated for so much, but we don't hear anything about quality hydration or optimal hydration?
Mm.
For me, I once I was educated on this and I made that connection, it just made all the sense in the world. And when it makes sense, it makes dollars, right? So
That is facts. Love it, man. Love it. You know, ultimately, it's not about like, oh my God, I got this going on. Like I have so many things, you know, happening for me. Like when am I ever gonna like devote time to this business or Kangen water or anything like that? How can I get my machine paid off? Guys, take the pressure out of that. Focus on the intention you have to genuinely help that person out, right? To seek out a solution for that person, because we all have our needs, just like we all have our wants. But if we can find out their needs while establishing that relationship with them and cater to that need when it comes to either their finances, when it comes to either a community of beautiful, like-minded people, when it comes to the health, when it comes to many other things that can add so much value to your life, then, you know, then that's going to work out in your favor and their favor, and, you know, for the greater good. Nick, anything else, brother, you want to share, man, before we end the call?
Yeah, I'll wrap it up with something that we didn't kind of already cover, but like as far as everything kind of ties in with this, right? If you're not passionate about Congo water, if this is not one of your passions, that's a problem in your business, because you're not going to have the burning desire. You're not going to. I'm not saying that it has to be your why. Our why could be a multitude of anything, right? But Kangen water is the vehicle to tie that in. My why personally is spreading, you know, activism, raising awareness about what's happening in animal agriculture to animals around the world. My vehicle for that is Kangen water. That vehicle helps me help people on that same path. It's a no-brainer. So that instantly became my second passion. And the desire to help people and achieve my why and get to everywhere I want to go and do the things I want to do far exceeds any minuscule, insignificant, you know, temporary lapse of achieving that stuff, you know? So really, really being focused on that. And yeah, it's just we need to like believe in it. Like for me, I didn't have any like real health problems or health issues. The water changed my life though, in the fact that I had insomnia, and I leverage my story every time I speak to someone. That's not something light to be spoken light of, right? Insomnia, it's a big issue. People that have never had it or experienced it with it, I envied them. You know, imagine not being able to sleep ever at night. It's hard to function. You know, I was miserable, and I changed nothing in my life at that moment other than drinking Kangen water, and I was able to sleep. My brain was being hydrated. My body was being hydrated. I had peace of mind, and everything else skyrocketed from that. I'm going to share that with people because I'm passionate about it, because it changed my life. If you don't have like a great story, leverage someone else's. But if you don't, that just means you're not drinking enough water, honestly. Drink more water. It's going to change your life. It's going to do something for you. And so because of that, leverage that story. You need to be passionate. I think you guys can tell right now, I'm passionate about this. Like it really makes a difference.
Bro, you're firing me up, bro.
I lead from the heart, brother. Like every time I talk to somebody, it's from love. I just care. That's bottom line. I care. And that's, I mean, at the end of the day, it's as simple as that.
Love it. Love it. Nick, thank you for having you on the call, man. I'm about to end the recording. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Peace. Love.